On March 18, 2014, over 100 student protesters rushed the gates, scaled the building, and stormed Taiwan's legislature over the passing of a trade agreement between Taiwan and China.
It is a massive civil disobedience. The protesters, the students, when they occupied the legislature, they knew that they were broke the law.
It was the first time protesters had ever occupied Taiwan's legislature. And now, 10 years later, the almost 30-day occupation is remembered as an iconic protest that shaped Taiwan's political and economic future. This is the Sunflower Movement Explained. In the early 2010s, many young people in Taiwan felt they didn't have a say in politics. Protests were mounted against then-ruling Kuomintang or KMT and their plans to strengthen economic and political ties with China. In 2014, the KMT was working to pass a trade bill that would let China invest more freely in Taiwan's service sector. The opposition Democratic Progressive Party, or DPP, said the KMT was skirting around the proper process to get the deal passed, doing things like holding a review meeting that ended just 30 seconds after it started.
对我来说就是知道我们会冲，但其实根本没有想到说，会冲，真的第一个会冲进去，第二个会占领下来。
The first night of the occupation was a constant battle with the police.
到了第二天，甚至是晚上的时候，我觉得好像才是比较放松。那时候我们也意识到一件事情，就第二天我们占领下来了，那接下来就是一场 24/7 的考验，你必须要在现场维持那几百人，那你要怎么办？所以他进去，他现在很兴奋，大家其实很多事，然后他也很紧张，因为你不知道什么时候被清掉，你真的冲进去了。那我那时候在做的事情，其实就是教大家怎么样去保护自己，怎么样去有效的去组成人墙。然后你如果被警察拖走，因为警察你会攻坚嘛，那如果你被攻坚，然后你不被警察拉走，那你要怎么去保护自己？身体上保护自己，法律上保护自己。
Everyone had a job to do, from a tech team setting up a live stream to translation team connecting with international media in 15 languages and everything in between. As the students began to organize inside, supporters gathered outside the legislative building.
And it is quite interesting that you might expect this illegal protest might not going to won public support, but the reverse is true because there are overwhelming support in public poll for the Sunflower Movement because people were really worried about the free trade agreement and their consequences.
6 days into the occupation, protesters started to gather to storm another government building, the executive branch. They did break in, but the police responded with riot officers and later water cannons to remove them.
Before Sunflower Movement took place, we haven't seen like water cannon for a long time, and also because most of the protests are peaceful. So protesters have the expectation that they are not going to be treated with force. And that, however, on that incident, the first time many protesters, especially young protesters who didn't have the authoritarian era's memory or experience, that's the first time they were being treated with force.
The sight of the forceful removal of students shocked the public. Crowds gathered every day outside the legislative building in solidarity. Professors at local universities held lectures near the protests, letting their students watch history unfold. On March 30th, an estimated 500,000 people gathered in solidarity with the protesters within the legislative building. Expats and students organized to express their support from overseas, from New York to London to Tokyo. On April 6th, the Speaker of the legislature said the KMT would hold off on reviewing the bill until new laws were passed on cross-strait economic negotiations, effectively suspending the bill indefinitely.
For these leaders, they can claim that part of their demand have been met, so it's time that they leave the legislature.
The students left the legislative building on April 10th. The protests had ended and their demands were met, but they had also forged a new national identity for their generation.
And that time, clearly, Taiwanese people, as represented by the Sunflower Movement, make a choice that we are going to go independent in economic way. Sunflower Movement actually initiated a trend and a reflection that are we going to go down with one China principle in economy, or we are going to choose the alternative. And I think that legacy still stay, and that is one of the most important impact coming from the sunflower movement.
Years later, many sunflower movement activists started careers in politics. A new political party was formed, the New Power Party. Check the link here to learn more about the rise and fall of the party over the past decade.
So the momentum of the sunflower movement actually was built on this previous incident, so it's not just one-shot thing. And it is quite common that in different parts of the world that protests always come in waves. So they are rising tide and also they are declining tides. I think sunflower movement happened to be the climax of one of Taiwan's previous youth activism.
The sunflower movement may be Taiwan's most impactful civil movement of the 21st century. But who knows when and how Taiwan's democracy will be tested again.